Thank you.
I was wondering if this was maybe my stage for the kick line or something.
I think it should be. So
I had to test it out yesterday.
make sure it's solid enough.
And I was going to jump down.
Won't break on me.
No, not for me. I was going to jump down.
And bam!
Wait till he jumps off and does like a tuck and roll.
Hello! That's right. Like that Steve Martin movie. Oh, we're on a mission.
Mission from God.
That's right. That's right. I put a tie on. There we go. Boom. I put a tie on and got in the car, came to church. Now, usually we ride together to church, but today we drove separately. First Sunday of the month, we have elders meetings, and so you got to be here a little early. So I stopped per my normal plan, get something to drink, get some breakfast, and just have my thoughts in my mind as I'm on my way to church. It was a quiet car ride, but as you know, driving on 465, traffic can be hit or miss, and today it was more miss than it was hit. So I'm driving, I'm just cruising down just cruising. So I get on the ramp from 465 to 74. I'm going slightly above the speed limit, and I'm heading in, and I got to hit the brakes, right? Got to hit the brakes. Got to slow down. And when you know it, I spill my Diet Coke a little bit. So I take my tie, because again, I'm not very accustomed to wearing a tie. I take my tie and kind of dab myself off, and then realize I'm wearing a tie. Oh my goodness, I can't wear this tie to church this morning. So I walk in, I said, Teresa, what do I need to do? I need to wear a tie. She says, well, do you have anything else? And I said, well, I got a pair of jumper cables. Maybe that will work. Yeah. She said, that's fine. Just don't start anything this morning. So, it was, it's going to be one of those mornings. That's right. It's going to be one of those mornings. Hey, if you're new to Jamestown Christian Church, hey, welcome to church this morning. Today is going to be a good day. And as I said just a few moments ago, today is a little unique sermon for us, because typically when I preach in terms of a series where I'll preach a number of sermons around the same idea. If you remember, we've done Fruits of the Spirit, we've done the book of 1 John, we've done some different things over time, and we got plans to do some other ones in the future. But every now and again, depending on when the calendar hits and how it falls and the special season of life that we're in, I'll have a standalone sermon, and today is one of those standalone sermons. For preachers like me, it's a great opportunity to address something within the church or something within the culture or something that is going on. And so today I want to address a couple of things that have been going on in the church, and I want to address where we are going as we head into the future. So my hope today is that this will be some information that can be used, that can help you when identifying with our church, and also maybe provide some inspiration for you so that you know that we as a church have a mission that we are going after and where we're going. So this is kind of like the State of the Union address, kind of with a fireside chat, and more of an opportunity for me to sit down this morning than it is like instruction, and here we go. So that being said, over the last 10 to 12 months, we've had incredible change in our church, haven't we? In the last year, Scott has been called by the Lord from this church to Hamilton Church of Christ in Hamilton, Indiana. Julie and I were called from West Park Christian Church in Indianapolis to our home here in Jamestown. And that in and of itself is great change, right? Anytime there's changeover in leadership, that's great change. But over that time, this is a testament to the Lord's faithfulness, not so much to Chad's leadership or preaching his style or personality or anything like that. But over that time, our attendance has increased by 38% and our giving by 16%. Again, not a testament to Chad as much as it is of the Lord's faithfulness. I preached a God versus sermon series. You remember that one? One of the ones on money, right? And I challenged our church to get out of debt. And we've taken some steps. After that God versus series, 5 couples told me that they made a commitment to be debt-free within the next 7 years. Completely debt-free, house and everything. With the sale of the parsonage last Monday, as Jeff mentioned, we have paid off over $200,000 in debt towards our loan, bringing it now under $700,000. All the while seeing an increase in the giving tree from numbers going from 4 families a week to 19 families a week, and from 23 individuals a week to 61 individuals a week. I don't need to tell you this, but God is moving in our church and in its ministries. And if you didn't know this, let me let you know that Teresa is staying on as a church secretary. She's going to stay. And that may be the most important piece that I have to share this morning. And coupled with that, and I'm so excited to announce today, coupled with that, Kelly Weiss is joining our staff as the sports outreach coordinator. So all of the things that we do, I'm so excited. So before I get Kelly, see Julie after church. We have something for you. So see Julie after church. So these are invaluable steps to accomplishing our mission. But the most important metrics that I have to give you, the most important metrics, over the last 12 months, we have had 9 baptisms, either on our church property or off our church property. We've had 6 families who have joined our church. And we have had countless conversations with people after service who are committing their lives to live for Jesus and honor Him every aspect of their life. That's not a testament per se to Chad or to those who have gone before, but it's a testament to what the Lord is doing in our community and specifically in our church. I don't have to tell you this, but the last 10 months have been really exciting here at Jamestown. Really exciting, but the best is yet to come. One phrase I heard the other day, and I thought it was so important, I wanted to pass it along, and this phrase really made me think. It really made me think. And it's simply this: the main thing is to keep the main thing, right? We want to be about one thing. So let's go after that one thing in every area that we can. Now, I want to leave this up just for a minute because of the fact that it's the principle that we all need to embrace, not just individually, but also as a church. Because it's very easy to get off center. It's very easy for us to lose our focus and to become distracted. And we live in a world that cries out for our attention. And there's all kinds of distractions, and there are all kinds of things beckoning for our attention, and if we're not careful, we'll be pulled off the narrow path. And so it's important for us to be reminded that the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Olix Hendricks said it like this. He said, the very essence of staying focused is the avoidance of distractions. The culprit is not the obvious, but the subtle. The diversions we easily rationalize are the most dangerous. And so, church, we cannot give in to the distractions. We cannot give in to the diversions. We must stay focused. And so today, what I want to do is give us a fresh view of what it is, our mission and our vision and our purpose. Now, we have this stated in our bylaws, and we have this available on our website and whatnot, but I'm going to change the words just a little bit. Perhaps you know our mission statement, which is to love God, to love others, and make disciples. But I've changed the words a little bit. And this is our mission statement stated just another way. Our mission is to connect people to Jesus in one another. That's the main thing. We're here to connect people to Jesus and to connect people to one another. That's why we exist. That's why we're here. That's how we measure a win within the life and fabric of the church. If we're connecting people to Jesus and if we're connecting them to other people in the church. We know that we have succeeded when those two things happen. Now, this may happen within a community group at your home. It may happen through a service project or a Bible study group. It may happen during the worship service. Whatever it may be to help you grow spiritually, we want to help you. John 15, Jesus talked about connecting with him, and here's what he said in John 15:5. Jesus said, I am the vine and you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. So this is what we want to take place in our lives, because we believe that connection with Jesus is the most important thing. And then coupled with that is connection to one another. So that's our mission, to connect people to Jesus and one another. And our desire is to fulfill our vision by expanding and trying to have multiple opportunities for people to do just that. In other words, we want to create creative avenues for people to be introduced to Jesus and to be introduced to each other. And one way that we can expand our mission to connect people to Jesus and one another is by having all church events. I love all church events. You know, I love going to a party. I love going to a cookout. I love going to a festival. I love doing things together. And one thing that we are doing together is called The Story. Now, maybe you've heard of The Story before, right? It's a 31-week study where it takes the Bible. There are no references, no scripture references. It's just the Bible written in a narrative, chronological form. And we're going to do this as a church. We're going to preach through the entire Bible, through the story, for 31 consecutive weeks. So starting on April the 27th and continuing to May, I'm going to unpack the story one chapter at a time. August. What did I say? April. Well, let's go with April. That works too. Let's go with April too.
Give it a try.
That's right. So starting August the 27th and going to May, we are going to unpack the story. Now here's the thing. There are 31 chapters in the book, but I'm preaching 33 weeks. So we're going to have an opening sermon called The Greatest Story Ever Told. I'm going to preach that on August the 27th. And then we're going to wrap it up after it's all over with a summary of the entire Bible in one service. Now, here's my expectation. I think it's important for you to know where I stand. And as the leader of this church, in cooperation with our elders and leadership team, here's my expectation. My expectation is for every one of you to get a copy of the story. And here's what it looks like. The story, again, like I said, is a pretty thick book, and it looks like this. And I have free copies for people who want free copies of the story. But here's the thing, I've only got so many. We've had people in our church who have been very generous and have donated a handful of copies. The book, you can buy it online for $5, I think Leonard said, $6, maybe even $10 through Amazon. But if you can't afford it, that's okay. We want to help. We want to give you a free copy if you can't afford it. So here's what I want. Here's my expectation, is for everybody in church, everybody individually, to have their own copy of the story, to read the chapter, make some notes, and then show up to church for Sunday school and for church service, both, ready to talk about the story. Now, if you can't afford a book, again, we will give you one for your entire family, and you can see me after church or you can see me in the future, but if you can, go online and get them yourself. But here's the really good news. Here's the really good news. They have a teen edition. Andrew, they have a teen edition. And they have a children edition. So everybody in the family has the story written on an age-appropriate level for them to get and to read. Julie and I have already got our books. We've got one for Andrew. In fact, this is it right here. We got Andrew's and we got some for us. And when it comes time, we're all going to read chapter 1 that week, probably differently from each other. And then we're going to come to church ready to go. Again, the story starts on August the 27th. with a sermon entitled The Greatest Story Ever Told. And then the very next Sunday, the first Sunday in September, we're going to do chapter 1. All Sunday school classes, everybody's going to be teaching the same thing, the same chapter. It's an all-church event, all studying the same thing, all going the same direction because it's important. Now, the story's going to be an unbelievable church-wide experience, and I hope that you make the commitment to join us along this journey. We're going to preach through the entire Bible, and I really hope that you make the effort to be involved and to show up and be part of this. But that's the mission. Now, vision is really what drives passion. Now, vision is different than mission. While our mission is what we do, our vision is who we want to become, or it's who we are. Now, our mission, as I just said, is to connect people to Jesus and one another. That's the goal. That doesn't change. That's where we're going. But our vision is a little different. And here's our vision. Our vision is to be a praying church who reaches out and challenges everyone to follow Jesus completely. We want to be a praying church all throughout Scripture. Isn't that what we see? We see people pray. We see people stop. They go and they seek the Lord for advice. And that needs to be the heartbeat of who we are. So let's step through this vision statement. And as we do, we're going to look at it in 3 different chunks. And as we do, I'm going to make some observations and some challenges for us along the way. Well, here's the first part. The first part is to be a praying church. If you read through the Gospels, you'll see time and time again, Jesus is stealing away from the crowds, and he's going to be alone and spend time with God. 11 different times we see him slipping away to a solitary place to pray and to talk to God. And we want to be a church that is filled with individuals who run to God regularly, who talk to him consistently, and ask him for direction in their daily lives. That's what we want. It may be a conversation that you have with God on the way to work. It may be on your way home from work. It may be silent prayer before you eat lunch. It may be prayer time at the end of the day. Whatever it is for you, our goal is that you spend time in prayer. And for some of us, we need to establish healthy habits to get us there. The healthy habits of prayer. Maybe you can keep a prayer journal, right? And write down the different thoughts and the different things that come to you when you pray. Maybe you can take the prayer list that we have here and just every day take 1 minute and pray over the whole list. Whatever it is for you to start praying and seeking the Lord. I had a mentor of mine who would ask the waiters and the waitresses at the restaurants, is there anything that we can pray for you? Maybe that's an idea. But whatever it is, start to seek the Lord through prayer every single day. Now, back in Luke 19, you remember Jesus comes to the temple and he's very angry because of the dishonesty and the greed taking place there. There are people cheating other people, and those who are, those poor people who had to buy sacrifices are being charged in exorbitant prices. And Jesus goes into that setting, and in Luke 19, he just cleans house. Remember this? He runs them all out. And then he says this. In Luke 19:46. Jesus says, "It is written, my house will be a house of prayer, and you have made it a den of thieves." You see, Jesus says God's house is to be a house of prayer. And we have a prayer room. Does everybody know that we have a prayer room? You go out these doors, you head towards the bathrooms, it's right there on the left, a prayer room where people can go and pray and seek the Lord. And if you don't know how to pray or you don't know what to say, go to the prayer room. We have helps in there to help you pray and to connect with the Lord. And I'm going to tell a really funny story about this next week. Really funny story. So come back next week and hear the story about the prayer room. But anyways, that's the goal for us. We have a prayer room. We want people to pray. And after service, most Sundays, not every service, but most Sundays after church, when I go to the prayer room, somebody will stop by for one reason or another They got one of two things. They either want prayer for something going on in their life, which is what most people do, or they want to talk about how to honor Jesus into their own life. But the thing is, we want people to pray. Whatever it is, whatever's going on in your life, whatever direction you feel the Lord may be taking you, we want people to pray. Now, a few Sundays back, Brock, my friend, talked about prayer. Remember that? He talked about a Corvette and all kinds of stuff. I'm still waiting on my Corvette, and it's not here yet. But one of these days, potentially. I don't even want a Corvette, to be honest with you. But here's the thing. Next year, we're going to do a sermon series on the Lord's Prayer. And we're going to talk about each aspect of the Lord's Prayer. We're going to walk right through it. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. You guys know it, right? We're going to walk right through that because the applications are real practical to help us learn to pray. And then following that series, we are going to start a prayer service one Sunday every month for 12 months. And we're going to come together and we're just going to pray. It's probably going to be on Sunday night, to be honest with you. But one Sunday a month, we're going to come together and we're just going to pray. Why? Because we want to be a praying church. We want to seek the Lord's direction, not just for our church, but for our individual lives. And we need His healing, we need His protection, and we need His direction. And so, we may be praying over a situation or sickness or a predicament or pain, whatever it may be, but prayer is the first place that we go. And so, we want to be a praying church. And if you're still sitting here and maybe you don't really understand what prayer is all about, that's okay. A lot of people are still investigating prayer, but hang with us. Go to the prayer room, get some resources, hang with us, because I promise you, by the time we get to the end of the 12 prayer services, we will see incredible growth in our own spiritual lives because we are intentionally going and seeking the Lord. And that's the first step. Here's the second phase. The second phase, we want to be a praying church who reaches out and challenges everyone. Who reaches out and challenges everyone. Now, this is kind of tough to do, right? It's kind of tough to reach out and challenge everyone. I mean, there's only so much that we can do. We only have so much budget money. We can only allocate so much time and resources to new program and new environments. But today, I'm excited to announce that we are rebranding our church. And that includes a new website, new logo, new service format, new administration tools, new social media strategy, new budget allocation, and new ministry opportunities. Well, the question is, well then why? Why do we need to do these new things? What's wrong with the old system? Well, the answer is very clear. It's because old keys do not unlock new doors. Old keys don't unlock new doors. We have to adapt. The answer is Jesus first, prayer first, and then we make our plans separately. Now, this is not a new concept. Our elders and our leadership team over the years, our church is 150 years old, over the years, they have wrestled with this question and they have sought new opportunities to embrace a younger generation. At times, our church leadership tried new approaches and they were phenomenal and they attracted people and people came to know the Lord. But at other times, they didn't have the intended concept or the intended outcome that we were looking for. And I know this to be true because the way that we do church today is very, very different than the way we did church just a few years ago or 150 years ago in our past. I mean, just look at the last 30 years, right? Just get the last 30 years. In the last 30 years, I grew up in school learning about the Soviet Union, right? Well, the Soviet Union doesn't exist anymore, right? And that's just in the last handful of years. Things are constantly changing. Countries come and countries go. Technology changes. You know this. Technology changes. I mean, freshmen in college have no idea how to use a card catalog system. No idea. They grew up with Google. They grew up with Yahoo and Instant Messenger and Facebook and social media tools, right? They don't consult the, as some would say, antiquated system. They use the digital system. In fact, they say today that over 70% of 4-year-olds know how to work a computer, and they're 4 years old. And work changes. You know this. Work changes. Back when my grandparents were looking for work, they looked for a job where they could work 35 to 40 years, then retire and get the gold watch, a pension, and all of that. Well, that's no more. The U.S. Department of Labor estimates that the average person will have 10 to 14 jobs by the time that they are 38 years old. 10 to 14 jobs. That's amazing. It's just different. Even the universe changes, right? I mean, when I was in school, Pluto was a planet. It's not a planet anymore. The universe is changing. The music that people listen to changes. The clothes that people wear are changes. The what people wear when they go out of the house is changing. I saw pictures of guys going to baseball games and wearing airplanes, having full suits on. Try that going on an airplane now, right? People wear pajamas, and sometimes less than pajamas on airplane rides, right? And it gets really, really personal. Your body is changing, and mine is too. You can Botox it, Rogaine it, liposuction it, aerobicize it, moisturize it, pasteurize it, cryogenically freeze it, but it's still changing, and not exactly for the better. My point is, everything is changing. So how do we as a church deal with the changing world for the next 150 years? Obviously, change is important to the health of any organization. The way things used to work yesterday doesn't always mean it's going to work that way today or in the future. But I'm glad our church has changed, because I've grown fond of electricity and indoor plumbing and air conditioning, iPhones and McDonald's Diet Cokes. I love these things, all of which the church of 150 years ago had no need for because they didn't exist, but they adapted over time. But sometimes companies don't adapt to change, right? And when you don't adapt to change, that can be the death knell of an organization. As an example, Blockbuster Video, the video rental giant, failed to adapt to the rise of online streaming platforms like Netflix and Hulu and went bankrupt in 2010. Did you know this? Netflix approached Blockbuster to have Blockbuster buy Netflix. They were low on cash, they needed a parent company, thought Blockbuster could give it, and Blockbuster said, we don't see this ever really becoming a thing. And Netflix went off and found private funding, and now it blew up, and, well, they didn't. Kodak, the photography pioneer, missed the opportunity to embrace digital cameras and smartphones and filed for bankruptcy in 2012. They were approached as well. You know by who? Motorola approached Kodak looking for a merger. They said, no, we don't think there's anything to do in the smartphone camera industry. And they went bankrupt, and Motorola is not as big as Apple or Samsung, but they're still pioneering their way into smartphone technology. What about Sears, right? The Sears, the retail giant, at one time the largest retailer in the U.S., lost its market share to competitors like Walmart and Amazon and filed for bankruptcy in 2018. My point is, what used to work doesn't mean it's always going to work in the future. And the slogan that you will hear me say that honestly has been echoed up through the years by our church leaders from the past is, we are not afraid to try. Don't misunderstand me. We are not changing our theology as the character of God does not change. We are not changing our biblical view as Jesus is still the hope of the world, and that never changes. We are not changing our statement of faith as the authority of the Bible, and it never changes, nor will it ever lose its influence at Jamestown Christian Church. And finally, our core values are not changing because the mission of the church does not change. Now, plug into me when I say this. I want everybody to look at me. I feel like Julie in the classroom. All eyes on me on this, right? Check this out. Hear me when I say this. We are not changing the message of the church, but we are changing the method of the church. The methods change over time, but the message doesn't change. Jesus is still the hope of the world, and he's our leader and director, and we are following in that direction, and we are going to go in that way. But the method may change just a little bit. It's not our goal to keep up with change or culture. It's our goal to keep up with Christ, and then culture will take care of itself. It's important that we keep Jesus at the front. Peyton Manning was the winning quarterback of Super Bowl 41. And it was a rainy night, and the ball was covered in wet, slippery mud and sweat and grossness. Anybody remember watching the Colts game against the Bears a few years ago? I do too. I was on a cruise ship with my family, and it was awesome. Rex Grossman, who was the quarterback of the Bears, fumbled the football several times, if you remember, because it was slow, slippery. He couldn't quite grab it. But Peyton Manning never fumbled the football. After the Super Bowl, a reporter discovered that for weeks leading up to the Super Bowl, after practice, his center, Jeff Saturday, would snap him water-soaked footballs. He practiced handling wet footballs, even though they played indoors, Lucas Oil Stadium, where it never rains. So the question is, why would you do that? Because Peyton Manning did what he could do, practicing handling wet footballs again and again and again, to enable him to do what he could not do without preparation, playing great in the rain. And the concept is similar for us. We simply can't say we want to change and embrace new people unless we really get down and do something about it. We have to practice what we preach. It's not enough to say, I hope people come to the Lord. It's our job to lead them to the Lord. It's not enough to say, I want my church to be involved in this. We need to get involved and to make a difference. We are making the preparation to change in the things that will make an eternal difference. We're not making change just for the sake of making change. We are making change to make an eternal difference. But here's the point. We were on a cruise ship when the Colts won the Super Bowl. It was great. But my day was not impacted one bit because we won. And had we lost, my day would not have been impacted one bit because we lost. It's just a game. Those things don't really matter. What does matter is my family, my health, my faith, the direction of the church. Those things matter. And so yes, I do get a little sensitive when it comes to my family and when it comes to my church, because it's my job to. It's all of our jobs to, right? To make sure the church is going in the right direction. So you want to see some of the changes? Check out the new website. The new website is myjcc.net. And here's why we changed it. If you type in jamestownchristianchurch.net, that's a lot of letters. And some of the letters are really, really close to each other. So we changed it, myjcc.net. And here's the new logo. It's a professionally done logo that's pointing us in the right direction. Because we want to be a church, right? So the cross, that's first, and it's highlighted on purpose, right? On purpose, because that's our main objective. And our website, even though it's not fully up and running yet, we're still working on it, but it's going to be for those purposes. In fact, to be honest with you, we're launching two websites. One for people who don't go to our church, and one for people who do go to our church. We are, like I said, with the administration tools, we're moving everything to an online platform. And so we need a way to get information from people. We need a way to get people signed up for things. We need to get a way to get prayer requests and all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to have two websites. Both of them you can get to from this website. So this website, myjcc.net, will be primarily for people who don't go to our church. And then you go to this website, you'll click on a member tab, and it'll take you to another website that will be primarily for people inside of our church. And there you can get information about all kinds of stuff that is primarily for inside people of our church. But for the most people on the outside, they just want to know, where's your church at? What are the service times? What do I need to wear? Is somebody going to look after my kids? And we're going to have all of that up front ready to go. I'm really, really excited about this. And to be fair, I'm really excited about today's giveaway, which is probably why most of you are here, right? It's probably why most of you are here. So today, along with our new logo, we have new t-shirts for everybody. And they look just like this. They have the new logo, and it has our website. And the point of the t-shirts is we spent the church a little bit more money than probably what we should have on t-shirts, but we want them to be worn, right? Not just go wear it to mow the grass, right? We want you to wear it as you're out and about. So who wants an extra large t-shirt? Boom. Boom. And so, on your way out of service today, everybody will be given a free t-shirt. We have lots of different sizes, right? From extra small to extra, extra, extra large. So from extra small to triple X, we've got shirts in the back, but here's the thing, you can only take one. Only one t-shirt, and you can't take one to your friends or neighbors or people who aren't here. It's only if you come to church do you get one. But if you're like me, sometimes I want more than one shirt, right? If you want more than one shirt, you can take more than one. The first one's free, the second one's $13. So if you want a second one, you can see Teresa, or you can see Julie, or you can see Stacy. They're going to be passing out t-shirts in the back. If you want an extra one, you get the first one free. If you want an extra one, it's $13, and you can pay them for that second shirt. But who only wants a t-shirt, right? Some of us, like me, we like to wear sweatshirts. So check this out. Who doesn't love a good hoodie, right? Look at these. These are awesome. Am I right, Evan? These are awesome. And these are $35. Now, we don't have these for free. You have to pay for these. But what we're going to do is, if you want one, you can see again, Teresa or Julie or Stacy. They'll get you signed up. They're $35 a piece, and we will place that order September the 1st. Brad, I got this for you. I got that for you. So on September the 1st, we'll place that order, and if you want one, you can pay them, and we'll get it for you. But we're really trying to get the word out, as we have done in the past. But here's the thing. I don't want these shirts just to be, I want you to wear them. I want you to be proud of where you go to church. I want you to be honored that we're doing our best as a church to connect people to Jesus and one another. And we're doing that by being a praying church. Okay, so here's the final piece. The final piece, and this is probably what you all came to hear. The final piece, we want to be a praying church who reaches out and challenges everyone to follow Jesus completely. So, praying church who reaches out and challenges everyone to follow Jesus completely. And this is the disciple-making process. I had a professor in college who said Jesus came to make disciples who make disciples. Basically, what we're trying to do is start a chain where you are the next link in the chain. Someone led you to Jesus, and now you're linked to them, and you're leading somebody else to Jesus, and you're linked to them, and then they're going to lead somebody to Jesus, and we're all linked to them. Jesus said it like this in Luke 19:10. He said, "For the Son of Man came to seek and to save that which is lost." And a lot of us, myself included, have a lot of growing to do in this area. Because I'll be real honest with you, I don't have a lot of non-Christian friends. I got some, one or two, but I don't have tons of non-Christian friends. I don't roll in a lot of non-Christian environments. And so it's a little tough for me to really go after this mission and bring somebody to Jesus. But I got a couple. And it's going to be my mission here to get them to come to church to hear the message of Jesus. I work in a pretty Christian environment. Teresa's like awesome to work with, right? Kelly and Julie, they're like awesome to work with. They already know Jesus, right? We need to hire people who don't know Jesus so that we can lead them to Jesus. That's a bad waste of money. I don't think we should really do that. But here's the point. On 40 different occasions in the New Testament, in 40 different occasions, we are told to model our life like Jesus, to imitate him and to try to represent him. 40 different times. You see, the mission of Jesus was to love people, and his method was discipleship making. Oftentimes we hear people say, well, I go to church, I just don't go to a church. I'm a Christian, I just don't go to a church. Or I believe in spiritual things. I'm just not sure that I buy into that all of the way. But here's the point. We either make room for the next generation to discover and follow Jesus, or we will close the door. It's as simply as I can put it. Unless the Lord returns, this church will be filled with people different than us. One day, I got a funeral coming up. This isn't in my notes. I got a funeral coming up. It's really sad. I hate funerals. I do. I hate them. But unless the Lord returns, that's going to be my funeral one day, right? That's just the way the world works. It'll be my funeral one day, and it'll be your funeral one day, unless the Lord returns. And that's the point of this, right? Unless the Lord returns, we're all going to go to our eternal reward with Him. Then who's going to fill the church, right? We either make room for the next generation to discover and follow Jesus, or we will close the door. To make this happen, we are repurposing all Sunday school classrooms to be primarily children's and youth ministry rooms. Every room is going to be primarily a children and youth ministry room. That includes new paint, new storage cabinets, a universal look and feel, and honestly, all options are on the table as to where classes will meet and what the decor is going to look like. I can say this, the entirety of the inside of this church is going to be painted, and there's a very high likelihood that the outside of the church is going to be painted as well. We're going to paint it all. It's been 10 years since it's been painted. It's time. And what we're going to do to be in prep for that is everything that's on the walls, everything is going to come off the walls because we're going to paint, right? And we're going to fix the walls where it needs to be patched. And we're going to fix some holes where they need to be done. And because they're primarily children's ministry spaces means that not everything is going to go back exactly where it is now. I'm not saying we're going to throw anything away. I'm not saying it's going to go into storage. I'm simply saying it's being repurposed. Eventually things will be put away, but not everything is going to go back exactly where it is from the minute the paint dries. Because they're first primarily children's and youth spaces that we also use for Sunday school rooms, adult Sunday school rooms, for church family gatherings, for fill in the blank. But when we need them for children's spaces, which we will, then we are going to use them for children's spaces. And so, I am making a commitment to the elders and to the leadership team and to you yourself to make this church the best children's ministry and youth ministry and family ministry church that we can be by making intentional efforts and by making decisions to pour into the next generation. And so, I don't know what that fully means, but we are going to go in that direction. Because we either make room for children and families or we close the door in a handful of years. And honestly, you're going to need a new pastor really soon because I'm all about introducing people to Jesus. One more thought on helping people connect to Jesus. We're making an investment in our worship service, in our guest connections, our guest follow-up, and our community involvement. A couple examples are the lights right behind me, right? They're just subtle, but they add a great feel. And we're making an example that new guests who come to our church, new guests, first-time visitors, are going to get the same t-shirt that you received today. They're going to get a t-shirt too because we want them to feel part of our family. They're part of our family too, and we need them to feel that. And so, we want you to represent Jamestown Christian Church by wearing your shirt as you're out and about, but specifically on 2 upcoming dates. The first one is September the 30th. On September the 30th, we are hosting a fall festival on our property. We're going to invite the people community to come to our property and be involved in all the fun and games and all that kind of stuff. If you have a t-shirt, wear it. If you get a hoodie, wear that too, because you never know what the weather's going to do. And then the very next week, which is October the 7th, is the Apple Cider Festival downtown. I haven't asked Kevin yet, but I'm hoping he makes his chili for that. And the second thing is I want every single person to wear their shirt and to show up at the Apple Cider Festival. What a great feeling it's going to be to have people come and walk around and it's full with 150 people all wearing the same Jamestown Christian Church t-shirts. What does that communicate to people? That's a place that I need to go check out, right? And so we want you to be involved. We want you to wear your t-shirts. We want you to wear your hoodies. But we need the resources to get this stuff done. No new ministry, no new effort, no new anything can fully be done in and of itself. It has to be part of the overall approach of the church. And sometimes that means new volunteers. Sometimes that means closing something down. Sometimes that means reallocation of money. And sometimes that means we need some startup costs to get us going. And we need some startup costs to get us going. Here on the screen, you're going to see 6 things that we need as a church. These 6 things are above and beyond our giving. It costs $2,300 to buy these supplies. And I'm asking you, because the money is in this room. I know it. The money is in this room. I'm asking you to give above and beyond your commitment to tithing to the church to help us buy these 6 items. Maybe there's 7. Julie, are there 7? 6? What? 10 items? Evan, there were supposed to be 6. 8. Okay. 2 and 2. So we need your help. If you can help, don't bring me your money because I never want it. I don't want to touch money. I don't want to be around it. I want you to give money to Danagram or to Teresa. If you can help. This is above and beyond our giving. But we need these things as a church, right? We need these things. Our microwave goes in and out all the time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It hit and miss. We have a vacuum back there that's had a sign on it. It needs to be fixed. Had a sign on about as long as I've been here at church, so let's just buy a dumb new vacuum, right? We need these things. Coat racks, we need some new ones, right? So if you can help, and in the next couple of days, I'm going to send out more information. We'll send out an Amazon wish list. Teresa will send it out to you, but if you can help, I would hate to send that email out. Just daggone it, just give Dana $2,300. We can go buy this dumb stuff, all right? Just go do that. But this is helping us accomplish our purpose, right? We're inviting people to our property. You've heard me say it once, I'm going to say it again. If they won't come to us, we'll go to them. And so I want us to get out of the mindset that people only meet Jesus in this building. And I want us to take Jesus off our property, into the community, into the streets, into the schools around us. Because Jesus is everywhere, not just here. A few years ago, one of my Bible college professors passed away. And I was privileged because I lived in the area to go to his funeral. And as we were there, he had a Bible open, and the family did, and you could flip through it and just kind of see some of his notes. I love it when people write notes in their Bible. I love it. In fact, I wish all of you would just stop using your digital Bibles and go get a hard copy Bible. In fact, take one with you. We got them all over the place. I'll gladly reallocate budget money to buy new Bibles. I would love to do that. Love to do that. But take a Bible, and he would write notes in the side. And I remember thinking, man, this guy is deep. This guy is deep. And as I was reading through that, it had no way in preparation for this sermon, in no way, but I came to John 15:8. And in John 15:8, Jesus says, "This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples." And then he had a little note written next to it. And he said, "Dear Jesus, help me bear much fruit." September the 14th, 2010. And I thought, how cool is that? How cool is that was his note? And that should be our prayer. Lord, help us bear much fruit, to disciple others, to reproduce ourselves in the lives of others so that they can meet Jesus and they can bring salt and light to other people. Because the ministry of the church is much bigger than Chad and Julie and anyone in this audience or anybody watching online. The ministry of Jesus is bigger than all of us, and all of us can be replaced just like that. But it's what we do now to allow those in the future to have shoulders to stand upon that will enable our church to rapidly come in contact with a culture that needs to know Jesus more than now than ever. And I'm going to talk about that next week, so make sure you're here next week. But as I start to wrap up here, I want to tell you a story about Francis Chan. Anybody know that name, Francis Chan? He was a Christian author and pastor out in California. Well, get this dude felt the Lord calling him to move overseas, so he left his church not knowing where he was going. Told his family to pack up your bags, we're moving, only I don't know where we're moving to. And so he went all kinds of places. He went to India, didn't feel that the Lord was calling him there. He went to Thailand, didn't feel the Lord was calling him there. He went to Asia, didn't feel that the Lord was calling him there. And finally he went to China, and he felt the Lord calling him to communist China to start a church. So he went, took his family and went. And when he was there, intense persecution was breaking out all over the place. And so the church, the underground church, invited him to come and speak to these Chinese Christians who deal with persecution. And on this one particular night, he took his 15-year-old daughter to the meeting. Here's what he writes. He says, at this meeting place, they were going to talk about how to handle persecution, and they asked me to come and speak. They were going to I was going there to train Christians on how to withstand persecution that they were enduring. And as I got up to speak that night, I realized that I don't have anything to share with them. So I asked them to teach me about persecution.